Well, this is going to be great.
Welcome to the White House Pod with David A.R. White.
I'm gonna finish what I started.
It's not easy, but it's simple.
Back by popular demand, Stephen Petrie.
Hey, thanks for inviting me back. Well, I didn't know if I bombed the first one, so we needed a redo, or if this is just because it's awesome.
No, the fans love you. And hey, guys, you know Stephen's actually this is what an artist this guy is. You're on the Red Room, right?
Yeah, Red Room Sessions. So I kicked
Red
it
Room
off.
Sessions.
Yeah, Red Room Sessions. It's a YouTube thing, so you could just search on YouTube.
Oh,
Red Room
okay.
Sessions.
It's Stephen Petrie's YouTube.
Yeah,
The funniest thing was though is when we were shooting Hidden Secrets, John Schneider was. You know, in the movie, that was our first movie for PureFlix, and he would drive his. Sometimes he would drive his General Lee.
That's awesome. I just saw a picture of that.
But the reason why is he was then shooting his first movie that he had ever directed and shot while he was en route to our show, and then he would shoot at lunch, and then he would shoot on his way home. I never saw this movie, but it was, you know, he did like 20 of them.
So that's just his normal car then? That's just what he drives?
Well, I think it was his movie car specific.
I showed up in a Hyundai Sonata, just for the record.
Is that a?
I heard that. It's a fancy car.
Like
it has leather seats.
Oh, you know what? We're talking about your car? I was talking about the weed whacker outside of our studio here. We're like by Warner Brothers. You'd think that we would have some kind of, you know, quiet here, but no. Hey, there's, I guess, you know, the trees need trimming.
Yeah, and it's a podcast, so you can get away with lower expectations, especially Red Room Sessions.
I don't believe that.
Well, the GoPro, they do good when it's really lit up, but in the dark, GoPros don't do good. That's what I've learned.
That's true.
I make movies now, is what I tell my friends.
I mean, you're very talented. Yeah. All right, so tell me about this new. You have a new album out, and.
Yeah, Red Room Sessions, and I'm calling it.
Called.
So it's. I think I'm going to call it Red Room because it's not printed or anything yet.
Okay.
But it's in the work. The songs are written. It's produced. We still have to mix and adding. I have a few more states to go to because I've been touring around the country, and I'm going to go to Norway, which is out of the country. To
Norway,
do like
is that a town like in California, or is that a country?
Way north east. Or west, whichever way around the world you want to go, but it's
So
Red
it's a
Room
country.
Sessions. Yes, it is Red Room Sessions.
Dylan, it's a country.
Yes, yeah. But so my buddy has dual citizenship.
Geography lessons here at the White House Pod is not a bad thing to also incorporate.
Yeah, well, there's that wisdom part, you know, and just
that's why I have guests like you to educate, you know, the normal people like me.
Yeah, that's me. That's why I'm on the show. Red Room Sessions, I need a little help from my friends, and I'm telling the story about jacking my hand up, which is my guitar hand. Yeah, in
broke
like
the wrist.
Eight places.
I remember because we played volleyball, okay?
Yeah, semi-professional.
We did play semi-professional volleyball on the beach with a group of us.
I took a season off.
It ended when Petrie decided to break his wrist while riding motorcycles.
Yeah, and it was more than the wrist. It was this bone, this bone, this bone, this bone, and I had 8 rods sticking out of it.
Gosh.
Almost lost my pinky, which looks weird, but in guitar playing, it kind of fits on the frets fine. So I'm back, but not 100%. That's why I need a little help from my friends making the album. And so I just decided to tell the story with video, music, and then I realized that I'm a C+ friend to most of my friends. Because staying in touch, I mean, we're a B- probably between the two of us. You know,
I like the fact that you're grading friendships.
Yeah,
I think it's important for people to think about that. Like, where do you rank on your friendships?
And I think it's more of a rating of probably on me. Like my friendship toward you, I'm probably a B-, but to some of my friends, I'm like a C-. I'm passing, but barely. But this show has revived something in me, and the importance of friends. And even if they live in Tennessee,
or like mine,
correct,
for a second time,
right? Or if because you have Tennessee, you have Norway, you have all these different places. You could still FaceTime or call or comment on the picture of their kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not great at that, but I'm getting better, and I noticed that I need to get better at it.
That's good.
So that's what this is. The Red Room Sessions just kind of brought to me is the importance of friends and connections, because you never know when you're gonna break your hand and need someone to cheer you up, or to say something.
How long
cool.
did it take to recoup that?
I'm still recuperating.
Like a year and a half, right?
Yeah. And it's every day, so I do hand therapy every day.
Oh my gosh.
So I went to hand therapist for a
looks
while.
Like you have rods in here.
Well, I have
looks like
one
you
here.
literally hit like walls to strengthen your your.
Oh,
whole,
like you get a boxer's fracture
boxer
too.
structure.
But this was.
You look like
There's
you
a
have
rod
massive
still there,
strong-
or a plate, or something. I don't know what
So
it
if
is.
you hit me with that hand right now,
It would hurt me. It would hurt me.
It would hurt you or hurt
Yeah,
me?
because it's not quite there yet. It looks better, but when you think of guitar playing, I had one doctor say you should pick a different career.
Wow.
You should maybe think about doing something different, which the competitive side was like, no, I'm gonna play. So I'm limited in what I can play, which is why I called in some of my friends. But
And you lead
it's
worship.
Yeah.
You lead worship like
Yep.
every Sunday.
Every Sunday, yeah. I mean, most every Sunday.
Did you lead worship? Did you continue to lead worship even when you were going through this like
the team
hand structure thing?
The team I've raised up and that is awesome covered me, but I played keys. So
one
for a
hand?
while I played keys, just strings or just something, because I don't want to just stand there with a hand and like, hey, So I would sit down and play. I wore sweats for a year because I couldn't button my pants. I wore Vans, but I just made them all black so it just kind of goes away. But I wore sweats for over a year.
You're a rock star. You
On
can
Sunday
pretty
morning.
much-
People didn't notice. I mean, the people on the team laughed. I had a shirt that buttoned on the side that I could have someone button the side of it for. It was
Gnarly.
tough, and it's still tough. But I've learned a lot.
I
and
don't
I'm
know
having
that
a
I was
ball.
there. I might have been a D friend to you at that
No,
point. Cause
well,
I
I didn't
That.
tell you, and then you invited me to a dinner in December. So this happened in November, and in December you invited me, and it was JP and all the boys, and I show up at some Italian restaurant in
Yeah,
Hollywood
your
or
hand
somewhere,
looked like a
and you're
glove.
like, "What happened to you?" I didn't tell, and then you're like, "It doesn't look real. It looks like a fake hand."
Yeah.
So that was a month
You look
after.
like the hand out of Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a journey, and it's taught me a lot. And here's the other thing. When you have a song burning inside of you, or a movie or an idea or a creative flow or story, basically, it didn't go away inside of me. It actually drove me to, I had more. So I have 5 guitars sitting around my couch, all tuned different, so that I could do it in an open tuning and play with one finger that worked. That's the only one that worked for a while.
Wow.
And so I would write that way, and then 2 fingers would work, and then I would get another guitar. And so now that slowly built back up, which was really a huge blessing, because in the time where I hurt my hand, I wrote more songs in that year and a half than maybe 4 or 5 years before that.
By the way, if you did not see the other podcast with Stephen Petrie, for the record, he was on Teen Beat when he was 16.
Oh, God. I think that took up the whole first interview.
He was a massive star, signed with Warner Brothers. At
It
the
was
time.
RCA and Geffen.
Yep.
Geffen first, and then RCA.
RCA as a kid. He was. If you've ever heard of a guy, there was a guy named Mark Wahlberg, who was also
Marky
the
Mark?
Marky Mark and the Funky
Yeah,
Bunch.
we
at the
toured
same
with him
time.
a lot, yeah.
We toured at the same. But so Petrie's been a rock star for a long time. I always just say a rock star because he's a rock star human being. But,
There you go.
But
Thank
he's
you.
also an actual rock star, and our movies have been extremely blessed with your talent to put your music in our movies.
Thank you.
And one of the fan favorites, I think, is the Encounter. The
People
theme song
email
to the
all the
Encounter.
time, and then I'll see on YouTube some random person will upload it and go, "The Encounter, I couldn't find it. Who is this?" And
It's
then they'll
such a
find me,
cool
and they'll just
song.
and it worked,
Yeah.
But it is, and I think I've redone that song 3 or 4 times.
The Encounter song has been re-recorded. Such a great
Yeah,
song.
it was a fun theme, and the first encounter,
We're going to close this episode of The Encounter.
the first
in case you
encounter
haven't heard it.
was so good. Just the story, because early days
Yeah.
of Pure Flip, you had no money, right? So you were just kind of just doing it. Someone's gonna give. I'll make a movie for $100
I
grand,
made that
whatever.
movie. I directed that movie in 8 days, or no? I directed The Encounter, the first one, in 6 days, which is unheard of for an
Yeah.
actual movie. That actually went on. The Lord's Favor was on that movie because it was so special to so many people. But also, your music in that movie was so.
Well,
awesome.
thank you. And the story of that, I remember watching it before we signed on to do that song or to have a song. And I remember I was like, why are my eyes teary? Because the story was, and I can't even recall exactly what it was, but I know Jackie Velasquez was in it.
Yeah, Sting.
And she looked
the
great.
wrestler.
Yeah, it was so good. And then they were locked in this
Bruce
little
Marchiano.
cart or something, a restaurant or something.
At a little diner
It
because
was
the roads were out.
I loved it.
I know it's such a simple
had
movie,
heart.
but it's because Jesus shows up
Yeah.
there as a short order
Yeah.
cook, and it's just you put Jesus in the middle of anything played out in a movie, and it's fascinating.
It was cool. I loved it because so if you don't have money to make a big action-packed movie, then have a killer story. Have a story that's going to make people, not
Dylan,
overlook.
write that down. I want to remember that. I actually probably could use a good script in the next movie I do.
Everyone's got a
Tommy
script in
Blaze
this
right
town.
now is like he's throwing the script that he's working on right now, going, "What in the world are you talking about? A good script?
I send you one every other day.
I've done like 50 of them for you." Tommy Blaze, that it was in no means, a stab at you, at your talent. Tommy Blaze wrote God's Not Dead 3, 4, and 5.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot. And I do
And Me
think
Again,
we're in a
and Brother
world
White,
that
and
needs
it's
stories.
like-
We need new stories. Like, we need stories, good storytellers. There's always a
Yeah.
need for that.
Well, this is what I'm always encouraged by you. I find it. I love the fact that you're talking about friends here, right? Because I do consider you one of my closest friends, even though we don't talk very often and we don't hang out very often.
Yeah. Seasons, we're seasonal.
We're seasonal.
Not season like some seasons we're together a lot, but then some like the hand thing really kind of like.
You're like my Christmas
Yeah.
friend or Easter.
Thanks,
I'm kidding.
Dave.
I've actually.
We need volleyball. Bring
I don't think
volleyball
I've ever
back.
said that to anybody about yeah, exactly. What about summer friend? Can I be your summer friend too? No, it is. But what I love is you encourage me so much with your passion for art in the midst of your in the midst of your faith. It's like you the mixture between your faith and your art and how.
Well, it's the greatest
beautiful.
story. Everyone's mimicking it, whether they're coming from a secular perspective or whatever.
Yeah.
They're all mimicking the story of redemption. It's just what it is. So how you can tell that, be creative. I started watching like Lord of the Rings and all that stuff again. It's so deep and cool, and it's all borrowing from the real story of redemption of Christ. And it's okay to be bloody and fight. We don't want to cheese it out. We want to keep pushing it and tell a real story of grit and hurt and pain and overcoming.
Well, it's like
stuff.
in pushing the boundaries because I remember when I first got into the faith-based world, how the boundaries were so stringent. You couldn't show even a glass of wine in a movie. Certainly not dancing.
Right.
Like we had in Hidden Secrets, we had a dance scene where they go off and it's like a school dance almost, and oh my goodness, did we get lit up? It's like all those things, but it's in the midst of where as artists, how do we play our faith in the midst of these different stories,
And I
without
think
being just cookie cutter. Well,
it's
this is
a
how we
fine
grew
line.
up with it. Yeah,
right. It's a fine line because you have to ask yourself,
And
well,
still
what
feeling
standard
passionate
is
about
it okay or not okay to have a wine or a dance, or like who makes that rule? And if it's religious people, then let's just piss them off. If it's not, if it's something that's bad or leads people in the wrong
The
way.
White House
then no,
Pod, Dare to Dream, in no way endorses what Stephen Petrie just said.
No, the standard meaning, what does God say? Why, is it a sin against God to do that? Or is
Yeah.
it a sin against the establishment Christian elite to do that?
It's
or,
part of
or,
that whole
or culture.
Yeah, it's part of the work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Like it is. In no way are we saying that the rules of before are obsolete,
Right.
but still, life is messy.
Very
life
messy.
Is messy.
Very messy. And there is a cultural thing where you have to at least acknowledge or trace it out to go, you know what, we need to push the bounds here. Like, why can't we put that there? Because it's actually real. It's it's honest. No, I'm not trying to be pushy on purpose.
No, but what I
it
love
is a
about
reality.
you is your honesty. I mean, you're honest. I can't even imagine what you say up there at the worship when you lead worship on
You know
Sunday
what?
mornings.
I've changed a lot. I've softened in some ways, and I've got my personality out of it more and more and more. And I try to load the songs with theology, like an old song from the 1700s or an old chant that they used to do back in the 1500s. And then what would that sound like today? So Psalms. How many churches sing Psalms now?
Very few.
or if they do, they neuter them to the point where they don't have fight in them. They're like, oh, the Lord, which. So anyway, I try to push that, but I try to get my personality out and put songs that mean something, right? That people can take away.
When you say get your personality out, is it because of like my human motives type of thing? Or are you because obviously God made your personality, right?
But in the context of a church service, how much of that needs to go away to where I decrease and Christ and the exaltation of him increases?
It's one of my problems early on with LA churches. When I first got to LA,
showbiz.
It was like showbiz, pastors pulling up in Mercedes, matching Mercedes,
Been there, done that, seen it all.
Yeah, and it was like a show. It's like, were they wanting to be rock stars that they didn't just quite make being a rock star because
a lot of
they
it
got lights and action, some smoke coming out, and
I think some of it is that, definitely, and that is real. Like God made you and I to do art, to tell stories and all. But in what context is that appropriate to do on a Friday night? It's like, let's go to the Viper Room and blow the joint out. Let's knock it out, right? Yeah. But on church service, I would rather honor God and like do things that are more like historical.
No,
what I'm saying?
I would agree with that because of it's time for it's worship, right? It's the Lord's Day specifically. It's I try to teach my kids this all the time. It's like, hey, this isn't our day. This is God's day to bend our knee and to say, Lord, take my life.
Correct. And I want to hear those people
and
singing
do what
that.
You want to do
and we want those people singing that out of key, low, high, whatever. Yeah. And so
my pause, by the way, was for dramatic purposes, of which Stephen just mowed right over.
Yeah, just pause it a little bit more. Ready? Yeah, that was deep. Sorry. You got me rolling. This is my category.
It is your category.
It's
I
my
love
category.
This.
So
sometimes I call Steven and I'm like, hey, just hi, go. And then I just listen. I'm just like, I need my word.
Well,
the word of the Lord
God's working on us.
as delivered through Petrie.
God's working on us. When we follow Christ every day, it deepens. It can darken. There's more battle. You recognize enemies. We're in a battle every day of our life, whether it's personal, whether it's cultural, whatever that is. God's doing that story, and it's always gritty. There's always something.
I'm trying to give you 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes.
It's a lot in this world, right?
So 4 more minutes. What does Petrie sum up the meaning of life?
Meaning of life? Well,
or just the meaning of this podcast in 4 minutes?
Oh, the meaning of the podcast or life? It's basically the same. Yeah, it's probably about the same. No, I do think telling stories, inviting your friends, whether it's on Zoom or across the world or whatever, to tell their stories about humanity, about good and evil and sickness and health and all those things and ups and downs. I think it's important to tell and to be honest and to model that, to say it is okay to talk about these hard subjects or whatever. Weed eaters in the window.
I mean, weed eaters, it's just like it's crazy out there. Dylan, go out there and tell them to stop weed eating.
I have some. My latest meditations have been on worldview. Oh, I sent you a book.
You did, and I want to listen to it.
It was Negative Neutral World by Aaron Wren. So you want me to just say what the premise of the book is, or is it not important?
I mean, it's not your
book.
I do think
it's a lens in which way you look at the world. I don't know.
Do you want
But
to?
I write songs.
I know. You write a lot of songs.
The Red Room Session songs are not tame at all.
But they're really good because we're working
mad.
on our new movie right now, A Line of Fire. And that's a step out for me.
Cuba was good in it.
It's Cuba Gooding Jr.
I mean, you were good in it, of course.
I mean, it was all right.
The star. Gosh. I sent you the song. You're like, it's a little too on the nose.
It was
with my name.
exactly with the. So I just basically say, Petrie, I need some music in these 3 places. Make something creative, and then like, bam, he'll just send something. I press play, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so
good. Because
so good.
There's the insecure artist that you send something, and you're kind of like, I like this, but I don't know what they're going to say. And then you don't hear back for 3 hours, and I can fill in a whole narrative of what you're thinking. And then, 6 hours later, you call me and you're like, you're playing it over the phone.
I know. I call you way quicker than. Think about the guys who write the scripts, though, right? And then they send those things in, and it is reading a full script and making notes, and doesn't happen the day that they send it.
Right. And they're
Sometimes
on the
it's
hook going,
right,
I
and they're
wonder if they like it.
Sometimes
They're
it's
not
a
like-
week. Sometimes it's like 2 weeks.
That's real. That's a real thing.
right. And we're like, da, 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 you
Yeah.
know, that's just that's down
And
the
they're
road.
on
I'll
the
get
other
to it.
side
Yeah, they're
going,
like,
they
oh
think
my
I'm
gosh.
cheesy. They think this is not good.
Yeah.
I have all that. I have
think
all
that's
that.
normal though. I think everybody has that.
And it's fun to get that. And you haven't been always, you've always come back and went, what if you try this? Or what about this? Or it's too slow. That was a big one for a while with you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's a little too slow. I'm like, oh God, those are real drums. That's real stuff. I have to know,
I'm
So
sorry.
it's not, in other words,
Yeah.
it's not plastic music. It's
Yeah.
it's like a lot of it is like live.
No, I kind of I mean, but the majority of your stuff is good. The
I
rest
can't
of
wait
it's
for you
not
to
so
hear the
much.
Red Room sessions. I can't wait.
I'm kidding. It is awesome. Actually, Steve Peter. You know what I love? I love him. He does theme songs too. Hitting the Brakes theme song.
That's great.
Malibu
you should play
Dan
that.
theme song.
Which one? Which one?
Malibu Dan.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of a.
I love that.
Dancey
I love
electronic.
those. How many theme songs have you done for us? You've done some, quite a few. And then the Encounter, obviously, now for the series, you do that music as well. It's like
Rev Road had one, the
Rev
original one
Road,
with
that was
Slipping Away.
So good, yeah.
Kinda
I
rock
love
and
that
roll.
end of the Rev Road 2. There's a song at the very end that I think that might be my favorite.
I don't know if that's
when
a
I walk
song.
through when I walk through the room,
I know what you're talking
and
about.
it's just like
I accidentally
and
sent you that.
His wife and his daughter are gone.
I accidentally sent you that because it's not a song. It was a prayer that I just played spontaneously. It had grit in it though. It was grit.
Rocks my world every single time I listen to it. All right, guys, I got to wrap it up.
All right.
God bless you guys. Steve Petrie,
Thank you.
want to say? Yeah, no,
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah,
I'll come back anytime.
Yeah, please. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I was supposed to say. Come
Yeah.
back anytime. All right,
I
guys.
will.
We'll talk to you soon. God bless you, and make it a great week. And please watch Stephen Petrie and listen, and all these references we just did on Spotify or
YouTube, any place where you hear music. Yeah.
Dissolved in the